Super Girls!
I'm Nicole.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Cindy.
We are students from Dr. Begley's Inquiry Cell Molecular Biology course here at Northeastern.
Today we will be performing a pig's heart dissection for Session 3, Activity 4 from the Body Maps unit.
When performing dissections, it is important to keep in mind of safety precautions.
It is crucial that you wear proper lab attire, so no baggy clothing, no scarves, no jewelry, no open-toed shoes, and you should have gloves at all times and your hair should be pulled back.
We are using a simple toolkit that consists of scissors, tweezers, a probe, and a scalpel. The hearts can be slippery, so we will be using scissors instead of a scalpel for our dissection. But you can choose to use a scalpel if you wish to do so. Place the heart in a foil tray not directly on the table. When dissecting, make sure not to cut towards your body, but to cut away from your body.
Before beginning the dissection, direct the girls to stand or sit in a circle an appropriate distance away from the table, but close enough so that everyone can see, preferably 1 or 2 feet away, to ensure that they do not grab or lean on the table. Make sure to emphasize to the girls that this is a pig's heart to avoid any confusion. The sight of the heart may disturb the girls. Your team will want to prepare for any reactions that you're going to get from the girls. They could be grossed out, interested, or anywhere in between. You'll want to make sure that the mentors who are not directly in the dissection are keeping them calm and relaxed. If needed, assign a mentor to take the girls out of the room if they feel sick. Invite the girls to touch the heart, but make sure they are wearing gloves.
The heart is surrounded by a membrane called the pericardium, which protects the heart. The heart you use for your dissection may or may not be enclosed in a pericardial sac. To distinguish between the front and the back of the heart, locate the sulcus, which runs diagonally between the left and right sides of the heart. The sulcus is more prominent on the front of the heart, which should be your first clue towards identifying the front and the back. The left side of the heart is more muscular because it pumps blood through the whole body, while the right side is thinner because it pumps blood to the lungs. Feel the sides of the heart to see which is thinner and which is thicker. Now turn to the back of the heart and locate the entrances to the heart. We want to locate the opening that goes into the right atria, the vena cava. When you put your finger in the vena cava, you should feel the thinness of the walls and confirm that you are in the right place. Now make your first cut through the vena cava and down the right side of the heart, displaying the right atrium and the right ventricle. The vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from the body into the right atrium. The right atrium receives blood from the body and pumps blood through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. The tricuspid valve has 3 cusps that are attached to the walls of the ventricle by strings called chordae tendineae. The right ventricle has thin walls because it pumps blood to the lungs. It has a moderator band, which moderates the flow of blood into the heart. When the right ventricle pumps, the tricuspid valve shuts so that no blood flows back into the atrium, and blood goes through the semilunar valve, which leads to the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery is the frontmost vessel that comes out of the heart. It goes to the lungs carrying deoxygenated blood. The blood becomes oxygenated in the lungs and is then sent back to the heart by the pulmonary vein. Now locate the pulmonary vein and cut with the scissors down into the left atrium and ventricle. The left atrium receives the oxygenated blood and sends it through the bicuspid valve to the left ventricle. The left ventricle has no moderator band and has much thicker walls because it pumps to the rest of the body. When the left ventricle pumps, the bicuspid valve shuts so that no blood backflows and the blood flows through the aortic semilunar valve through the aorta.
Now that you are done making cuts, you may want to label the pathways of blood through the heart clearly to help the girls visualize them better. To demonstrate, we will be using red and blue pipe cleaners to show how oxygenated and deoxygenated blood move through the heart. We are placing a blue pipe cleaner through the vena cava into the right atria and ventricle, and out through the pulmonary artery. Using the pipe cleaner may be difficult, so we suggest using something more rigid. We are labeling it to show the pathway of deoxygenated blood from the body through the heart and to the lung. We are using red pipe cleaners to show the path of oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary vein into the left atria and ventricle, and out the aorta to the rest of the body.
Now that everything is easy to visualize, you may want to run through all the general information with the girls. We are looking through the back side of the heart, so the right atrium will actually be on your right. It is where deoxygenated blood from the body passes from the vena cava to the right ventricle. The right ventricle moves blood through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. From there, oxygenated blood returns to the left atrium via the pulmonary veins. Then it moves to the left ventricle and then to the aorta. The aorta takes the blood to the rest of the body. Valves separate sections of the heart so that blood does not flow backwards. The septum is the muscle that separates the left and right halves of the heart. This would be a good time to ask the girls to point to where their heart is. Remember, the heart is in the center of the chest, slightly more to the left. Ask the girls if they can feel their heartbeat and ask them to describe the sound. The heart creates a lub-dub sound. The lub is from the tricuspid and bicuspid valves, closing at the beginning of ventricle contraction. The dub is from the pulmonary and aortic valves, closing at the end of contraction.
Now you might want to reinforce the big idea from this dissection, that the heart is a muscular organ that pumps blood, thereby maintaining the steady flow of blood throughout the entire body. The function of the heart determines the structure of the heart.
To clean up, wash all of the tools thoroughly with warm water and soap. Be careful handling the sharp edges of the tools. Place your disposable pan, pig heart, and gloves in a plastic bag. Tie the bag and dispose of it in the trash can. Wipe down your dissection surface with soap and water. Dispose of any paper towels used in a trash can. Thoroughly wash your hands with soap and warm water.